Good afternoon, financial professionals. Abby Fletcher here of E4 Insurance Services, welcoming you to the BREW, Building Relationships Every Week. Thanks for tuning in today. For those of you joining the BREWcast for the first time, we like to start by celebrating today's National Day for April 7th. First up, it's New Beer's Eve. You heard me correctly. Tomorrow is National Beer Day, and beer makers everywhere celebrate the eve of this very special day. So get your lagers, your pilsners, your sours ready to ring in New Beer's Eve. Also, today is National Go for Broke Day, encouraging us to give it our all. No matter our goal, there's a reason to persevere despite all odds. The phrase go for broke has roots in Hawaii, meaning wager everything. The phrase also has history with the United States Army. Go for broke was the 442nd Regimental Combat Team motto. So today, go for broke, and after you've gave it your all, get your feet up and celebrate New Beer's Eve. Today on the BREW, as part of our advanced planning series, we have E4's very own Brendon DeRouin. He serves as our Chief Distribution Officer. Today, Brendon will be sharing the multiple methods of distributing your assets at retirement. We'll have a sneak peek at a live case that just happens to be Brendon's mother's policy. Feel free to use the chat box below while Brendon is live. I'll be keeping a lookout for your questions and comments. Also, all attendees are in a drawing for a free continuing education course, and we'll be announcing the winner shortly. Thank you for tuning in, and without further ado, Brendon, welcome. The mic is yours.
Thank you, Abby. I don't know what I should celebrate more, New Beer's Eve or New Beer's Day. That's a tough one. I may have to just go with both. Can everybody see my screen? Or can you see it, Abby? Is that working?
Yes, can see it, Brendon.
Perfect. All right. Well, as Abby mentioned, my name is Brendon DeRouin. I am the Chief Distribution Officer here at E4 Insurance Services. I'd like to thank all of our advisors for being on, and any prospective advisors. If you like what you see, check out the rest of our brews on our blog and get signed up, and we're happy to help share more. So with that, the case study that we're talking about, as Abby alluded to, is my own mom's income distribution plan. And although today is Go for Broke Day, she would not appreciate if we embodied that message in her own financial plan. So did a little more work and did that. So in the financial services space, it's really trendy these days to talk about, it's not important to get up the mountain, it's getting back down, alive. I climbed a mountain once in my life, and that was enough. I was pretty certain I was going to kill my family, as I did it with my wife and my dad, and we were tied together, and it got steep and hairy, but all I did was look down at the snow, and there was no pretty views. It was just looking at the snow, and I'm pretty certain I could go to Fargo, North Dakota, and just look down at snow if I wanted to in January, February, probably even March and April most years. So, but as I am more of a skier, not really concerned about getting up the mountain. That part we have lifts and gondolas to do. I've always been more concerned about the path getting down. So, in financial planning, and I've taken the RICP course. Recommend it for anybody that does income distribution plans for their clients. It was good. In that, we talk about the three major methods of income distribution: flooring, withdrawal rate, and bucketing. Now, I can go into a lot of detail, but just high level. Flooring is covering minimum expenses with guaranteed income. Big three on that are pensions, Social Security, and annuities. There's also the withdrawal rate method. So if you got $1 million portfolio, and you followed the 4% rule by, William Bengen, that would generate $40,000 a year out of your portfolio. But there's been some argument: is 4% the right number? Is it 3? Is it 4.5? Let me know when you're going to die and what the markets are going to do, and I can figure out, the perfect rate of distribution. The last one is the bucketing method. So typically you've got, 3 buckets. Some people get a little more advanced and have more buckets, but bucket 1 is current needs. For me, that's 2 years. Bucket 2 is the next bucket, 5 years of living expense, and bucket 3 is everything beyond that. So that's the high level different methods of distribution. First things first, though, in order to figure out what you need income, you got to have a budget. So this is my mom's budget from her spreadsheet. She's a bit of a control freak and has a pro forma. No idea why she has garbage removal on there, but no cost for it. There's also no gifts to Brendon on there as well, which I guess I could hassle her about, but I haven't. So her 2021 income need, $88,805. So I'm actually a big fan of the combo method. So this is a floor of money with a bucket. Apparently this picture was actually for money laundering. That's not what we're doing here, but I just found it as an interesting side note. So I basically combine a combination of flooring and the bucket method, for her. So for my mother, she does have a pension, Social Security, and then we also have an Allianz Master 5, which generates, a little over $1,000 a month of income. That is in a Roth IRA, which I'm a big fan of putting income annuities underneath the Roth bucket if you can, so that when they deplete of funds, it's still income tax free. So, and not to say that we don't use some of the withdrawal rate method. We use that to help fill up, some of the additional buckets. With her, when the market's up, we'll take, some gains off the table, put them into our buckets. But given, that 2020 was the year that it was, she had no travel expense. So I don't know if you remember, or we can just flip back. Typically, she has $20,000 worth of a travel budget. That didn't happen last year, believe it or not. And then with some of the government stimulus money, she had extra cash come in as well. So really didn't need to touch anything beyond some of her flooring. But her bucket 1, and what most of this talk is going to revolve around, is a product that was called the Rapid Builder. It is now the Smart Builder, but it's a product that North American does, and it is the keystone around everything that we do with her planning. It's also a good tool for mitigating sequence of returns risk. So her bucket 2 is a Lincoln OptiChoice 5, which has about 5 years of her living expense, has 10% withdrawals in it, and works out pretty good. The rest of her assets is bucket 3, and that is fully invested in the market. It's about $1.5 million of managed money, both in low-cost indexes and some tax-efficient funds. So by the numbers, my mom, and this is actually not a picture of my mom, so we give her some anonymity here, but she is a 68-year-old female, lives in Madison, Wisconsin, happens to be divorced, collecting spousal Social Security, so she is collecting off my father's Social Security, and she's, because it is not her own and his, she did start at 66, which was her full retirement age, if she had her own or was using her own Social Security, I would have suggested that she delay until 70, but not the case. And because of that, she will also not remarry, just to make sure that she can keep that Social Security. Has 2 children, I am one of, and 2 grandchildren, which are both my children. She expects she's going to live to about 95 or 100, given some family history. She's got about $3 million total net worth, 958 of that is non-qualified, 700 qualified, and then 950 in insurance and annuities. So her cash flow, again, for the flooring, she has essential budget of $3,300 a month with the Allianz annuity, the pension, and Social Security. She is not quite there, about $600 short, but that's okay. And her ideal budget, $7,500, and that's where we fill that in with the other dollars. So as I mentioned before, Rapid Builder, which is now the Smart Builder, is the keystone to her plan. So you've got the classic keystone, which is that stone in the middle that holds the arch together. We'll call that the Rapid Builder. Or Smart Builder, you've got Keystone Mountain, Colorado. But maybe since it is New Beer's Eve, we should use Keystone Light as a beer since it's there. But I don't really consider that beer. So on my mom's Rapid Builder product, this is her annual statement. She just had an anniversary and a birth date, for that matter, be backdated. And we originally put in $225,000 into this. And the approach that we use with that is half of it we put in the fixed account, which, as you can see, is earning 3.5%. The other half we put in the index. So last year, I don't know if you remember, but pandemic started, markets went on a wild ride, and we looked at where the market was. On March 15th was a particularly bad day, and I talked to my mom and said, hey, your index, not a chance it's going to recover by the anniversary, because that was I think in August, and it was down 20-25%. And I said, why don't you can live off that money. We'll take your cash and put it into the index account on March 15th. So we did that, and I did a 60-40 split or 70-30 split of the cash. Majority of it going into the spread account, the rest going into traditional point-to-point index. But the point being there is this is not at risk money at all. Obviously, we timed things well. You can't do this every year, but the market had a 66% return year over year, with the spread taking off 6.3 off the top. She got a 59.77% return on her not at market risk money, and she is just ecstatic. Provides a little additional cash flow for her. You do not have to use either one of these products. If you do proper planning ahead of time, you could use even a fully funded 10-pay IUL to use as a side fund and build up cash. I do like having the ability to have some in fixed and some in the index. Again, I said for my mother, this bucket one is 2 years, so that cash is truly what she would be pulling out. Not that she does it month by month, but as she needs to, quarterly we'll pull some cash out. As it's in the fixed account, it is earning money as it goes. If it were in the indexed, even if the market was up, if she doesn't get to that anniversary, there's no credit to that. So that's why we put some in cash and some in the index, but then that also allows us to be able to maybe opportunely time the market or the index, if we have a big decrease. So that's what we did there. I'll just flip back a page again. So again, she's put 225,000 in. Premium load and cost on this is, call it $5,500 a year. That's and it also has an asset-based trail, which pays me, 1.1%. The new Smart Builder is a little less. It's 80 basis points if you take the trail option. But that is, a 1.9% drag roughly on her having the ability to have downside protection, upside growth. Plus, if she happens to die, there's $571,000 death benefit right now. It has increased from $483 because of gains, and that has value. That also has, living benefits riders. So she could accelerate that for long-term care or a critical illness, if she had that. I would not suggest that because, A, life insurance is the best proceed to transfer to the next generation. And, with that, she also has a long-term care policy. I had her take out a long-term care policy back in 2008 with Unum. It was a single pay. Back then, she did a $200 a day single pay, 5-year benefit with 5% compound. So as you can see, that has kept up nicely with the current increases in long-term care. I don't believe you need to cover every dollar, but at least at this point, she's okay there for 5 years. So my mom is not the really touchy-feely type, but I would like to think that if she were putting on this presentation herself about her plan, that she would close with something like that. So with that, I am happy to take any questions that people have.
Thanks, Brendon.
All righty. Well,
Income annuity under Roth. I wanted to hear how that works.
So she had a decent size, a $200,000 Roth bucket, and we purchased, like I said, the Allianz MasterDex 5 Plus. Turned on, a lifetime, living benefit with that. That also has, raises because that's what Allianz does well. But even as the underlying account value comes in, all distributions from that, are under Roth and considered, tax-free. Whereas your typical non-qualified annuity or qualified annuity, that's all going to be, ordinary income. So I'm, as I said, fan of using Roth money in income annuities.
How did the conversation go with your mom when you showed her a 59% rate of return on one of her income account buckets?
So my mom is, and for a 68-year-old single female, doing pretty well. I have always told her she doesn't need to worry about money. She can spend more. She can buy what she wants. It has really taken her a good 10 years to believe that. Now she firmly does, and she thought it was good, but she wasn't overjoyed or ecstatic. Just, well, that's nice, isn't it? Yes, it is. I was more excited than her, just because. So that's where I'm a pretty even keel guy. I think that's where I get it from. So.
Well, I think it's an incredible story, Brendon, when you think about the fact that she got this tremendous return in a product where if the market had gone down further, she would have lost nothing, and she would have reset at the new starting point a year later. That story is so powerful and so strong to creating better financial outcomes for our clients. And I think that's a great example that we could all borrow for sure.
Couldn't agree more. And those that have known me for many years know I've always been a big proponent of having this product within, your client's portfolio. Kind of use it as a passbook savings. Money can come and go, or, take over bank assets. I mean, there's plenty of clients out there that want to have money in the bank because they know it's safe. They know they can touch it if they need to, but they're never going to use it. Now, if you can leverage that money into a product like this, not only get a death benefit, but have the ability to, beat what the bank is paying, it is, it's an absolute win-win.
And how does the new 7702 affect Smart Builder going forward?
Well, they haven't made changes yet, but it is, obviously going to reduce the corridor. You're going to be able to have a smaller death benefit. It should just make it even more efficient than it already is. And one thing I didn't mention on this product, but it has a waiver of surrender charge option. So there is no premium load. There is no surrender charge. You can access that money, from day one. And in most cases, we've got positive cash value, throughout the contract. Sometimes in older or smaller premium amounts, the insurance drag can outpace the minimum guarantee, but in a lot of cases it won't. And I think after the 7702 change, it will be even, more likely to have your cash value greater than your premium at any point. I hope.
Any other questions from the audience?
Yeah, Brendon, this is Adrian Vanderwood. A lot of people are concerned right now with tax rates going up, and they're in retirement or going into retirement and saying, all right, do I take and recharacterize some of that pre-tax money and move it into a Roth? With what we've been talking about today, does that, moving it into a Roth bucket at this point in their lives, is that a smart thing to do? Of course, there's still a lot of unknowns, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I generally and passionately believe taxes are on sale today, and anything you can do to pay taxes on the seed, not the harvest, makes a lot of sense. As I mentioned, you don't have to use this single premium product, which does make it a MEC, and all gains would come out ordinary income. You could fund, as long as you do proper planning, you could fund this over a 10-year period. Have a non-MEC, a fully funded IUL or even VUL, and use that as your bucket one. If you're going to use the VUL, I'd like to make sure that it has a strong fixed account and some indexes, so that you have some downside protection. But you could do that and then continually reload or replenish the cash value, just like any other policy, and then even have a tax favored basis to do that. So yes, I think that makes a lot of sense. If you can do Roth contributions, Roth conversions, just do the math. It can't end well. We're pumping a lot of money out there.
I agree. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Any other questions from the audience? Anything else you'd like to add, Brendon, before we go to the drawing?
No, I think we're good. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks for sharing, and tell your mother thank you for us too. We've been really salivating over this illustration, so let her know that we enjoyed this.
I will do that.
Also, time for a drawing. Brendon, give us a number 1 to 27.
25.
25. Who's the winner? Who's the winner? Joel, I'm going to do my best at pronouncing your last name, sir. Joel Regier, Congratulations. Be on the lookout for a complimentary CE course coming your way from all of us here at E4. And be sure to tune in next week. We'll have E4's very own Tiffany Armour from our design team giving us a live tour of an advisor favorite technology, Insight. Thanks, friends. Make it a great day.